Welcome, one and all. And when I mean one, I mean myself because I watch my own videos. All right, guys, today we're going to be discussing a lot of stuff. We're going to be discussing a lot of stuff. We're actually going to be discussing Pokemon Pocket. All right, we're going to be discussing the top decks in tournaments, in my mind, and in the game. All right, so mind you, this game has gotten very competitive in a sense where you can mix and match all kinds of your ideas, your different kind of decks, everything. So what you're looking at right here is just the different tiers of all the different decks in the game that actually have seen some tournament play or some high usage. So tier one, we have Mewtwo EX and Pikachu EX. Not very surprising. We have tier two, we have Celebi. We have Koga surprisingly in Gyarados EX. Gyarados literally just won a tournament. Top one just won a tournament with what was it? Druddigan. I'm gonna try to find the deck for you guys now, but this is just what it is, right? So we had tier two Koga, very surprising. Koga actually being one of my favorite kind of decks to use in this game. It's very good. So tier three, we actually have Charizard EX dropping down all the way to tier three, which is insane. Starmie EX was in tier two, now dropped down. Arcanine EX dropped down. Tier four, we have Wigglytuff, Greninja, Blaine, Pidgeot EX, which is actually very surprising. We have Executor, we have Marowak, Blastoise, and Articuno. So all these decks, as you see here, all these kinds of decks here have these rankings. And if I can actually pull up the, if I could pull it up, um, I want to show you the Gyarados decks that actually won. Okay, so perfect. So we actually can see the top main deck that won the recent tournament. So as you can see, right, we're gonna look first place. Look, this is the first place deck list. Right? We have double Magikarp, double Gyarados EX. We have the Froakie line. Sir, please. I wasn't doing that. Okay. Like I said, the Froakie line, and then the two Druddigans. Druddigan is one of the best new Pokemons that they have released. It's so good. It's just so good. And unfortunately, I do not have Gyarados on my own account. So it's like I'm crying internally, and it's very hard for me to stop crying once I've gotten going. So this deck right here, rocking the two Misties for this Water type team is very good. Um, the Sabrina the Leaf to use that control to switch in and out and pivot. This deck looks really good, mind you. Greninja with the damage control with Water Shuriken doing 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's super good. This deck, there's a reason why this deck went number one in the world in a tournament. But in this video, I want to kind of step away from what other people have been using, and I want to kind of go over the decks that I have made or I have grew inspiration from and kind of, made it my own and, I wanted to show it to you guys because I use these decks personally. I use these decks when I play and, when I am trying to build a deck, I try to go off the dome. I try to go off the dome and I try to see what other people are doing, but I don't let that affect me. So the first deck that we're going to try out or the first deck we're going to look at is actually one of the recent videos I've made just switched up a little bit. This is the ideal deck that I want to run. I wanted to run in that video. Um, if you guys want to check it out, link will be in the description. It's going to go be called this Golem deck is unstoppable. So please check that video out. Drop a like and drop a fat, juicy, sexy comment on that video. But let's just dive into it, right? So one, we have Mankey. Oh, um, I accidentally clicked that. Okay, so never mind. So Mankey. Let's talk about Mankey real quick. Mankey is honestly a really good Pokemon that they added in this new set. The reason why I say that is because for literally one energy and for 20 damage, what am I saying? For one energy and 50 damage, you could do a lot of damage. Make it long story short, you can do a lot of damage. And we're rocking the Geodude line and the Marshadows. So the reason why we're rocking Marshadow and Golem is because this new Golem that they added, it's actually phenomenal. I really like this card. This card is so good, and it's just so tanky. So let me try to pull it up for you guys so you guys can see. So, okay, this is like a horrible picture. But during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks. Mind you, the Golem we already had existing was a really good card. It's not like this Golem was bad either. Double Edge doing 150, however, it does have a drawback, right? Double Edge, think about it like this, double edged sword, right? You're gonna do a lot of damage, however, you're gonna take a lot of damage back. So this Pokemon also does 50 damage to itself. So Golem doing 50 damage to itself, honestly, is kind of self-destructive. However, you're gonna it's a lot of payout, right? 150 that Oko's Mewtwo, that two shots Pidgeot, and with these high, health Pokemon, it's gonna be harder to knock out these Pokemon in one hit. However, this Golem, that's the whole point. You're gonna have to take a lot of time and energy to knock out this Pokemon because every time he's using that guard press, he's not only not doing damage to himself, but he's also being more tanky. So it's gonna be harder for you to knock him out the next turn, right? He had 160 HP. That's as most as Pidgeot EX. This guy has as much health as an EX Pokemon, and he's not an EX Pokemon, but he is stage 2, so you're gonna have to build him up. That's why we did include him in this deck list because I think that Geodude and Graveler and Golem are really strong Pokemon to counter this meta. Another Pokemon that we have is actually Marshadow. Marshadow is a Pokemon that is a really good revenge killer. Marshadow, if he knocks out a Geodude, or forgive me, if your opponent knocks out your Geodude or knocks out your Mankey, Marshall's going to come in there and take the revenge, right? So one of your Pokemon have been knocked out, this attack is going to do 60 more damage. That's 100 damage right there. That Oko's Ninetales. That KO's Pikachu because it's super effective. This Pokemon is really good. Even Zapdos, you add a Giovanni onto that, good 130. Bam, Zapdos is gone. So I think that Marshadow is a great addition to this team just because this deck has a lot of potential and a lot of strength, right? We're rocking the double rock so we can ramp up Golem really fast. We have one Sabrina just so we have some disruption. We also have Giovanni just in case we want to um, need that additional damage, right? One potion just because, Golem is going to be very good. So having that healing is going to be very beneficial to him just because it's going to make him a little bit more tankier, right? Double X speed. I don't really like rocking the leaf when I have so many other supporter cards here just because I would rather use two X speeds rather than one supporter card and I can't use any other during that turn. So that's why I chose to do double X speed. We have double Pokeball, double Professor Research, and then the Mankey. So this deck, I'm gonna name it Thick. So make sure to give Thick a try, and I think this deck is gonna change the meta. I think this deck is going to have good ratings. No one, like I said, this tier list is the popular decks. However, it's not in here, which is fine. But I think hopefully with this video gets a lot of attention, people can start rocking this deck and trying to see if it works or not. So we're actually going to move on to the next deck that we have. So the next deck we have is going to be Celebi. Celebi, mind you, Celebi's in tier 2. Let's actually check out the top Celebi deck. So it's going to go top 8. So let's look at this top 8 deck. Honestly, not very different. Not very different. You have two Celebes. You have two of the Snivy line. And, excuse me, the reason why Superior is so good is because of its ability. This ability is going to allow Celebi to ramp up so freaking quickly. And mind you, Celebi already does 50 damage per heads for each energy that Celebi has attached to it. So let's say Celebi has two energy on it. You're gonna flip two heads, and if both of those are two coins, and if both of those coins are heads, bam, you're gonna get 100 damage. Okay, let's say that you have Superior active in the bench, and Celebi with two energy gains 4 energy because that's what Superior's ability does. Each grass energy attached to your grass Pokemon provides 2 energy. This effect doesn't stack. So, with that being said, 2 energy while Superior's on the bench, that's 4 energy. That is 4 chances to get 50 damage. That's a max of 200 damage. Let's say you get quadruple heads. Bam. That's a lot of damage. And as soon as you add another energy to Celebi, Superior's ability comes into effect. So let's actually look at the deck that I built. So we're actually rocking double Snivy, double Servine, double Superior. However, I also added Execute and Executor. Execute and Executor, I think, is so good. I really love using them. They're really strong. Do they have Erica? Yeah, okay, so they do. So any grass type teams you have, Erica is going to be a staple in them, no matter what. So we're rocking one potion and double Ericas. That's a lot of healing. This deck is gonna have a lot of healing. You already know Executor plus Wigglytuff decks. Those kind of decks are just gonna be impossible to kill because you have so much disruption with healing and you have so much health too. Executor has 160 health. That's a lot of health, right? That's gonna be able to at least you're gonna at least two-shot the Executor. Unless you already ramped up and you're one-shotting Pokemon left and right, which is actually insane. But Celebi is so good. I really like Celebi I really like how they added Celebi and they added a partner to it straight out the gate. I think that is phenomenal. I really enjoy that. We have one XP just so we can pivot in and out. Maybe thinking about it, maybe the Leaf isn't really a bad choice considering we only have three trainer cards. Maybe. Maybe, you know what? Screw it. Instead of the XP, just add the Leaf because you know what? The Leaf is going to allow Executor to pivot in and out. Staple in all decks, the two Professor Research and the two Pokeballs. We do have one of each. We have one Giovanni and one Blue. Let's talk about Blue for a second. Blue is a card that I really enjoy using just because we're able to let's actually magnify this. Okay. So Blue is actually a really good card. Oh, my bad. Um Blue is a really good card to use just because well this image is horrible, but we'll just go back. Um Defense. Defense is going to be one of my favorite things about any kind of game. I love being able to stay in there, tank as much as possible, and blue is going to help with that goal, right? Adding -10 damage to the next opposing turn is going to be insanely valuable. Considering people are already running Giovanni, they're already going to be doing +10 damage to any attack that they do. Whether it's a Vine Whip that does 50 damage, that's going to be 60 damage, right? You could knock out your basic Pokemon. Let's say if they're doing um, Mewtwo EX and 150 damage, that's going to KO an Executor with the Giovanni because that's 150 plus 10, that's 160. So having the blue in hand and having blue in your deck list is going to be very beneficial because you can cancel out the Giovanni. It's going to be very good. So this deck, I think, is going to be meta defining. As you already know, the deck is already here. People are already playing this exact same deck. So let's see if there's anything different. Um, Delmise. Okay, so this person added Delmise, which is not really that bad. It's just a grass Lapras. But with the addition to Superior, Superior is going to allow Delmise to ramp up faster. That is why this deck is so freaking good. I just think that this deck is really going to shake up the meta a lot, and it has. Even Koga, before Mythical Islands came out, Koga was not a deck list that was to be feared. And even I was using Koga. And I was knocking out Mewtwo EXs, but it just didn't feel as powerful as other decks like Celebi or Pikachu or Mewtwo. So now that we talked about Celebi, I actually want to go and talk about one of my favorite decks, right? Okay, it's actually this deck. So we'll talk about Pidgeot. Pidgeot, I think Pidgeot is super underrated. Let's actually go and look at Pidgeot EX and let's see what kind of Pokemon they're actually using. So one person got top 4, top 16. So let's look at top 4. Uh, this is interesting. So they have two Pidgeys, two Pidgeotos, a Pidgeot. They got Aerodactyl and two Ambers. I I don't understand. Um, I don't. I don't. I really don't. I'm not gonna try to understand. I'm just gonna move on. Okay, never mind. We're just gonna go to my deck. We're just gonna go back. So this deck, right? So we have Pidgey, we have Pidgeotto, we have Pidgeot. Also, we have two Drudigans and a Mew EX. You're looking at this deck and you're probably wondering, what the heck is this? What is he thinking? Whose man's is this? To where he's rocking Drudigan and Mew on a Pidgeot EX deck. That doesn't make any sense. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Before you say anything else, I'm gonna make it make sense to you. All right. So just hold your horses. Hold your horses. All right. Pidgey, Pidgeotto, Pidgeot. They're great Pokemon. Pidgeotto EX is so freaking good. Mind you, Scattering Cyclone, 170 HP. That is so freaking tanky. That's so tanky. Scattering Cyclone is also a great move as well. This attack does 20 more damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So, reading that move description, okay, the most it can, the most potential damage it can do is 140. That's OHKOing Pikachu. That's OHKOing Mew. That's OHKOing Mewtwo with a Giovanni. This Pidgeot is so freaking good. However, you're probably wondering, well, how am I going to get their Pokemon onto their bench? Let's say they already know how Pidgeot works, and they're going to counter me with that. Well, that's where Pokeflute comes in. Pokeflute is so freaking good to where Pokeflute is actually going to allow you to put your opponent's basic Pokemon back onto their bench. So then, okay, bet you use Pokeflute, and now Pidgeot is back to full power, OHKOing all these Pokemon left and right. Druddigon. Druddigon is really good just because it is stalled. Pidgeot is a two-stage Pokemon. So we're going to need to stall a couple rounds. And let's say that we don't get Pidgeotto right away to evolve into from Pidgey. Or we don't get Pidgeot, so we're stuck in Pidgeotto. Well, that's what Druddigon's here for. Druddigon is here to stall. Druddigon is here to do damage as well. This deck, the energy you're going to be using is fire and water. That's the energy I use. I'm not using psychic energy from you. I'm not using any other energy. I am using fire. I'm using dual energies, fire and water. The reason why I'm using fire and water is because if for whatever need be, we need Druddigon to do some damage, bam, we have the necessary energy for Druddigon to do damage. Mind you, Druddigon, his ability, Rough Skin, if this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack, your opponent's Pokemon does 20 damage to the active Pokemon. So, let's say Druddigon gets hit. Druddigon is at least getting two-shot. There's no way that Druddigon... I never know. You can OHKO Druddigon if you ramped up quick enough. But, mind you, at most, it's going to take 2 hits, 3 hits to KO. That's 20, 40, 60 damage to your opposing Pokemon. So that's just whittling the Pokemon down, which is great. Mew. Mew is one of the best Pokemon in the game. Honestly, I didn't really think Mew was going to be as good as other people think, but Mew is really good. And I haven't really used Mew a lot to gain experience from it. So you know what? It's kind of, I'm a little biased on a sense where I don't know how good Mew really is until I've actually used it. However, with genome hacking, this Pokemon is just going to do so much damage. So let's actually get a better view of Mew really quick. People aren't actually even using Mew in Mewtwo decks. That's strange. They're just adding the mythical slab to it. Okay, so let's look. Mew. Genome hacking. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack. Mind you, that's 3 colorless energy. In one of the other videos I posted, we actually were talking about how versatile Mew is going to be. And is what I was talking about. This is how versatile Mew EX is. You can literally put Mew in any single deck you want. Dark, fighting, grass, water, electric, dragon. Well, dragon's not you can't use dragon energy, but it's whatever. You can put Mew in any deck and take him anywhere you want. Take him to the park, take him to the movie theaters, take him to a nice dinner date. Take him, get him flowers or whatever you want, or just eat him up like no. This Pokemon, let's say you can do the same thing with Druddigon. These two Pokemon have the same 2 roles. To stall. Mew EX, you put Mew EX on the bench and start ramping him up. Let's say Pidgeot is not the ace of this game, and Mew is. Mew is going to copy any opponent's Pokemon move and use it against him. Mewtwo EX. Mew counters Mewtwo EX. Mew is not going to counter Pikachu, but that's fine. It's going to counter all these different kind of Pokemon. And Gyarados, it's going to counter Gyarados too. This Pokemon is really good. We're rocking double potions. The reason why I'm rocking double potions is because of Druddigon. Druddigon needs to be able to live as long as possible, right? Like I said, double Pokeball, double Professor's Research. And The Pokemon Flute is going to be really versatile here. Um, I'm going to talk about these two cards in a little bit, but we're talking about Giovanni and Sabrina. Sabrina is pretty self-explanatory, so as Giovanni. However, Budding Expeditioner. Budding Expeditioner is the reason why this deck works, right? Let's say you're stalling with Mewtwo, or forgive me, let's say you're stalling with Mew, and you're one hit away from getting knocked out, and your opponent gets two prize cards or 2 points or whatever. I was the reason why I say two prize cards is because I was looking at my old Pokemon cards, and it says the EX rule. When you knock out an EX, you get two prize cards. But Budding Expeditioner is going to allow you to pivot in and out of Mew EX, and Budding Expeditioner is the same as what do you call it? It's going to be the same as what do you call it? Koga. Oh, people are not even running. I want to show you guys, but people are not even running Budding Expeditioner. Well, that's fine. Budding Expeditioner is going to allow you to pivot in and out of Mew, just like Koga does with Weezing, right? Put your Mew EX in the active spot into your hand. So when you do that, when you actually activate Koga or Budding Expeditioner, you're actually taking your Mew EX off the active spot and putting them back in their hand, and you can place them back onto your bench. And bam, what that does, full freaking heal. That's gonna full heal your Mew. So mind you, full Mew has 130 HP. That's not bad. Not bad. Pikachu has to two-shot it. Mewtwo's obviously gonna one-shot it, but mind you, that's later. That's late game where Mewtwo's already built up and ramped up and has those four psychic energies in order to do 150. So I think this deck is really good. I really enjoy using this deck. I want to play with it more. The only reason why I haven't played with it is because I just made it and I just actually pulled Mew EX. So it's gonna be it was hard for me to play with him because I was already using other decks. But this next deck, I think you guys are gonna like. I think I'm gonna like this deck a lot because I love Dark Drake Pokemon, and that's a little spoiler. Um, let me go here. Okay. So we're rocking dark type Pokemon with Mew EX. So double back to back. This is what I was saying. Mew can go in any deck. So I actually put Mew in here over Druddigon. Originally I had Druddigon in this spot, but I was thinking, I was like, Mew EX is so versatile to where I don't need a specific energy to use Mew EX. The problem with Druddigon was that I literally couldn't attack with Druddigon. I couldn't. I wasn't gonna rock triple energy on a dark type team. That's just not, it doesn't make sense. All these Pokemon need dark type energy. And I actually like Venipede because Venipede doesn't really need uh more than two dark type energies. So let's actually look at some other let's look at the top eight. Top eight Koga deck. So my man is rocking double Wheezing, double Venipede, Whirlipede, Scolipede, double Coughing, and he's rocking the Tauros. I just pulled Tauros and I don't know how good he is, but Tauros is really good. If your opponent's active Pokemon is in Pokemon EX, this attack does 80 more damage. That is 120 damage. That KOs Pikachu. That KOs Mew with a Giovanni. So Tauros is actually very versatile in this deck, just like Mew is in this deck. However, I like Mew better. I'm not gonna lie. This guy has Double Leaf, which is interesting. I don't know why he has Double Leaf. I think he has Double Leaf just for Tauros and Scolipede, and maybe Weezing, I guess, because Koga's gonna be able to pivot Weezing in and out of your hand. Rocking the one Sabrina, like I said, Professor Research and Pokeball are in every deck. Um, I think this deck I have though is gonna be maybe more consistent. It might be more consistent just because Mew EX is going to be able to copy any opponent's moves, right? And we have Budding Expeditioner and Koga to pivot in and out of Weezing and Mew. You just can't use more than one supporter card per turn, which is kind of a bummer just because, it would be kind of broken if you can use more than one. We're rocking one potion just because Scolipede is 140. It's going to be a lot of has a lot of health. Wheezing just in case Mew. Um, the reason why I think this deck, the deck that I've made, is actually quite good, is just because how versatile and how powerful Scolipede is, right? Scolipede is going to be able to do what I believe yeah, it's 140. 140 damage when the opposing Pokemon is poisoned, right? I'm so glad that they added Venipede, Whirlipede, and Scolipede into this set just because this line is like actually my favorite kind of Pokemon. They're so good. I love the designs. They're bug type Pokemon, which is cool too. Whirlipede is one of my favorite Pokemons. You could actually check out one of my playlists. And we were actually playing Pokemon X and Y, and we actually evolved. We had a Whirlipede on our team. I actually forgot her name, but I love this Pokemon. So you guys should check out that video. The link is also going to be in the description. But Whirlipede, considering you don't even need Wheezing to activate Scolipede's full potential, right? Wheezing is going to be good just because of that ability. That ability is going to be able to poison any Pokemon, and Scolipede, you could poison your opponent's Pokemon, pivot with Koga, and then use Scolipede and win the game. That's literally I've done that multiple times, and people have conceded before I even did it. And I actually kind of want to. This deck is really good. Looking at this deck, I really like it. Honestly, I really like it. Tauros, I'm gonna have more practice with. However, I think Mew is just going to be a better Pokemon, right? We have the double Koga, Budding Expeditioner, one Potion, one Sabrina, just to pivot the opponent's Pokemon, just so we have that chance to get an early KO. So with that being said, we have actually discussed all the different teams that I think could be the best decks in the game. I really enjoy making these kinds of videos because I like to talk and I hope you guys like to listen. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and comment down below. I really appreciate all the likes and all the comments. I would like for this video to at least get 10 likes. Can we please get this video to 10 freaking likes? All right. So, with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you guys seek the Lord Jesus Christ so that we may have eternal life. And I'll see you guys next time.